There is a story that was never announced, never agreed upon in words, and never asked to be believed. The story grew quietly, slipping in between shooting breaks, in between held breaths, behind gazes that were too long to be called coincidental. That is how the story of Song Weilong and Zhao Jinmai began to echo, not from official statements, but from the whispers of staff who witnessed everything from up close. The words heard in the dressing room, studio hallway, and crew break area were simple, but their effect was like sparks in dry straw. Song Weilong did not share Zhao Jinmai with anyone. There was no anger in it, no accusations, let alone claims of ownership. Instead, it sounded like a natural conclusion, something that was clearly understood without needing to be explained. It was as if everyone there understood one thing in common, that there was undivided attention, undivided focus, and a presence that always returned to one name. On set, Song Weilong was not the type to seek the spotlight. He did not talk excessively, did not demand space, and did not make dramatic gestures. But it was precisely because of this that his presence was felt. His gaze often lingered longer on Zhao Jinmai, not a blank stare, but one full of awareness, as if he was making sure that everything was okay. The camera may turn elsewhere, the director may yell "cut," but that attention never truly stops. He is there, silent, consistent, and almost invisible, except to those who pay attention. Zhao Jinmai himself is not a weak figure who needs protection. He is professional, independent, and knows exactly how to deal with the harsh world of entertainment. But around Song Weilong, something changes, something softens. He doesn't seem alert. He doesn't keep his distance stiffly, nor does he try to show anything. He's just comfortable, and that kind of comfort rarely comes without a reason. The staff said that Jinmai never looked around frantically for Weilong, because she knew, somehow, that he was always nearby. That sense of security was not feigned, it flowed naturally. Many thought it was jealousy, a neatly packaged possessive attitude. But those who were there saw something different. They saw instinct. The instinct of someone who wants to make sure one person is okay in the midst of the hustle and bustle. Song Weilong often asked about Zhao Jinmai's schedule, made sure he got enough rest, and paid attention to small details that usually escaped other people's attention. If the atmosphere was too crowded, he would move a little closer. If the camera spotlight felt excessive, he stood in just the right corner, without touching, without obstructing, but close enough to be a support. There were small moments that never made the news, but that's where the story really came alive. When Zhao Jinmai laughed freely with the crew, Song Weilong watched her with a smile he didn't show anyone else. When Jinmai looks tired, he doesn't show his concern, just make sure there is water available, or talks briefly with the staff to have the schedule loosened a little. Everything is done without announcement, without praise, without demands for reciprocity. And perhaps that is precisely why it all feels so real. Their chemistry in front of the camera is enough to make fans' hearts flutter. But what silenced the staff was how that chemistry didn't evaporate when the cameras were turned off. There were no drastic changes in attitude, no distance created for the sake of false professionalism. There was only continuity, the same calm, stable flow that was difficult to fake. If this was just acting, then it was too perfect, too consistent, exceeding the demands of the job. When Zhao Jinmai talked at length with other actors, Song Weilong never interrupted. He did not show any vulgar expressions of jealousy, but his silence changed. His gaze became more focused, his movements more economical, as if he were weighing something inside himself. A staff member once said quietly, almost as if afraid of being overheard, that they all knew what was going on in Weilong's head, even though not a single word came out of his mouth. His silence spoke louder than any protest. Interestingly, there was never any harsh clarification from either of them. There were no long denials, no awkward laughter in front of the media. Their silence gave the public room to feel, not just guess. Fans read body language, pieced together moments, and crafted their own stories. Fan art appeared, edited videos filled timelines, and the phrase, "not sharing," went from a staff whisper to a symbol of collective emotion. Not to bind, but to celebrate. What makes this story feel deeper is the awareness that it may never be named. There is no status, no acknowledgement, no promise. But does everything that matters have to be labeled? Sometimes, the most powerful things come without definition. They are present in the way someone stands a little closer, in the way they refrain from disturbing, in the way they choose one focus amid so many distractions. Song Weilong may never have said that Zhao Jinmai was his, but from the way he kept the world at a distance, from the way he didn't share that attention with just anyone, everyone who witnessed it understood what he meant. And Zhao Jinmai, with the same calmness, accepted it without question. If this wasn't love, then it was at least the most honest form of care ever seen behind the scenes. One day, perhaps this story will fade, overshadowed by new projects, other on-screen couples, and fresh rumors. But for those who were there, for the staff who watched closely, and for the fans who felt the vibrations from afar, there will always be one memory that remains. There was a time when those two names walked side by side, calmly, neither claiming the other, but also never letting go. There was a time when Song Weilong did not share Zhao Jinmai with anyone, and the world watched, in silence, with hearts beating softly. So now the question is back to you. After hearing the behind-the-scenes stories, observing the small gestures that the camera didn't capture, and feeling the silence that speaks louder than words, do you think this is just perfect chemistry at work, or a feeling that was deliberately left unnamed? Share your thoughts in the comments section. Don't forget to like if this story made you emotional, and subscribe so you don't miss out on the stories that are never spoken, but always felt. See you in the next video.